Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for March 29th, 2020. So, yeah, it has been a long week. Wow, you know how we all complain about work and having to go in and, doing our job and stuff. But I've been very appreciative of my job this week, even though I've been working from home, and I did go in for a couple hours on 2 of the days, just do some stuff that I can't do at home and get caught up on some things. And I didn't realize how much I depended on that for, social interaction. And I know we're all feeling that right now, but it's one of those things where you just I didn't think about it or really understand that even as much as I hate working and going to work and having to work for a living, there are some benefits. Because I miss my coworkers, seeing them, like I didn't see all my coworkers every day, but I would see them during the week at least, usually, and then some of my coworkers that I work with all the time, I don't see them anymore, and it's very weird. Anyway, I know a lot of people are going through that, and I'm not going to talk much more about that. I just wanted to point out that, as much as I still dream of winning the lottery, though I don't play, I do miss my coworkers anyway, which I'm kind of sad about. But I just said I talked to them on the phone and emailed them, but it's not the same anyway. And I have to do my first meeting online, like I think a Zoom meeting coming this Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't done that before, and I have to lead that, so I'm a little nervous about that. Anyway, so I have not left the house since Thursday morning, when was the last time I went in for work. So I don't plan to leave until Tuesday morning when I go in again. So I had enough groceries to last me, last week and this coming week, because I didn't really eat a whole lot of them. I have fallen into the college eating of my years, where I just ate, I would I have to cook. Oh, I have to eat something. I had ice cream for dinner last night. That tells you where I'm at. Anyway, I have plenty of food. There's no reason for me to be doing that, but laziness wins more often than not. Anyway, so I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm sure some people who do love to cook are enjoying being able to have the time to do it. I'm just not one of those people. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the books that I did read this week, and the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. So my reading has picked up, which is great. I was definitely one of those people who last week was just watching my phone way too much. And I actually had to stop letting myself pick up the phone all the time. And so I timed myself, and that kind of got me to stop. It was a vicious cycle. All I would do is read a page, and then I would look at my phone again. So it's the only way I could do it to stop. But I'm finding that I'm still having trouble with what I pick up, and rereads are the thing that is saving me. So I did first finish on, was it Monday or Tuesday? I don't remember. It's Monday or Tuesday. I finished SPQR by Mary Beard on audio. I listened to it for work 1 or 2 days, and it went really well. This is narrated by Phillida Nash, and I really enjoyed this. I don't think I loved it, but I don't think I was supposed to. It's very much an overview of ancient Rome, from what they think is kind of the beginnings of the city to, what did she said she went to a certain point, and my brain just stopped. It had to, I don't know. She chose a different point than one of the sackings. I don't remember what it was now. That's stupid. It's just been a week, and I can't remember. I know I'll remember as soon as I turn this off. But the point is that, it was really interesting, her weaving of it. It went in different ways than I thought it would. It started with Cicero, so it started earlier to Julius Caesar's time, and then she went back, and then she kind of came forward again to his time, and then went forward to some of the other emperors. Yeah, I can't think what the date was for it. I think it was when the emperors changed, when they went from a different kind of, I don't remember now. Sorry. It's not that this is forgettable. This is definitely one I'm going to keep for reference, because there are certain things in here that even in this week I've heard mentioned about Cicero or one of the other emperors in some other documentary or on somebody else's video, and I'd be like, oh, I know about that. And so I think I'm gonna keep this for that. I don't know if I'll listen to the audiobook fully all the way through again, but I definitely will keep the book just because there is interesting things, and I do love that they have let's see, it has pictures in it, and that was the best part, is going back through this and looking at those and getting more information that way. I really found that helpful. Again, I said I just enjoyed it. I didn't love it, and I didn't get everything out of it that I wanted, but I still think it's a great starting point. And then I think from this I will jump into learning more. There's certain, it was really funny, I have some historical fictions that are based off of the emperors, like I, Claudius, and what was it, something about the young Nero, and something, I don't know, there's another historical fiction, and I don't remember if there's a third one I have, but it's like funny, I have like these historical fiction books on these emperors that she talked about, but I don't know a whole lot about them, so it'll be interesting. So I might pick up some nonfiction as well in here. Like, I actually want to get that Cleopatra book by Stacy Schiff. My dad has the book, and I need to borrow it, but yeah, he's in quarantine, so no, I won't be seeing him for a while. But I think even after reading this, I didn't know a whole lot about her and Mark Antony and how the victors wrote the story, you know, kind of thing. And I think that's the interesting thing. I just want more information. So I did like this for what it was, and I hope to, you know, read more of more stuff that's, I mean, I have some historical fiction, but I also want to read more history on different parts of that I did read about. So it was, I mean, again, I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I listened to it. I did finish The India Fan by Victoria Holt. So this was my reread. I've read this more times than I could ever count. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I can't explain to you exactly why. I started reading it in my high school years, and I have read it every year to every 3 or 4 years since then. So this is a book that constantly I think about, oh, I want to read that. And since I joined BookTube, I have not allowed myself to reread it. I don't know why. I thought about it and I talked about it, but I didn't do it. So I was just, because of my mood, I could not read anything new, really, not that much. So I picked this up, and it was so nice to go back to this world. So this is a historical fiction. It starts like probably the 1830s, and then it's the 1850s is really where this takes place. We're following Drusilla, who is a young rector. She's a rector's daughter, so she lives in the village of Framling, and the family that owns the you know, the big property on there is called Framling, and she is connected to the family due to her the rector's pretty close to the property, and she's really close in age to the younger daughter, and she has adventures with her and the older son when she's a kid, and then when she grows up, her life is tied to the other girl, because they are close in age, and she gets dragged along with the other girls, gets sent off to school and things, and then things kind of just go, things don't go so well. This is, I said, one of my favorite books. It also takes them to India right around the time of one of the revolts, and which was, you know, understandable. So it does deal with that. It is a very you know, it's written as if in that time, which 1850s, so sometimes the comments that some of the characters make, of the English characters who make, you can see that it's their, you know, well, it's their privilege, that they're not very kind to the Indians, or how they treat you know, other people who are not as well off as them. But I think overall still, like, again, those little quirks that I'm like, I never really paid attention. I might not have if not for BookTube as much, but I noticed them and I go, oh yeah, I remember that. You just kind of let it, that's, again, a time period thing. So I don't know why I just explained all that. That's just, it's a really good, it's just a good book. It follows her life, and it follows the people that she knows and from this family, and some of their connections. And then, as I said, they get to go to India, and that's a whole nother section. Anyway, this is one of my favorite historical fictions, and I do like her for, most of her books are standalones when she writes under this pen name. And so I've had all of them, like a lot of them, and I've read almost all of them. I don't remember which ones I haven't anymore, but I know I read a lot of them in high school and college. And anyway, so she's one I don't pick up as much anymore, but I do really like it. Anyway, so that was really good for my for my reading. I really enjoyed that reading. I did try another audiobook, I think on Wednesday, and that is The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. I did not like this, and I did not get very far. This is a small little short story collection, and this is one that a lot of people talk about during Halloween, and they talk about the creepiness, and they talk about it being retellings. And yes, I could tell the first story was a retelling, I think of, is it Bluebeard? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, but I hated it. Like, it was, but I mean, I loved the writing, like, as in the descriptions were creepy and well done and interesting, and but I didn't like the main character, and it just drove me crazy because I knew it was like, I didn't know where this is going because I stopped 25 pages in. Not even 25, 22 pages in, and I just was like, I was cringing the whole time. And if you know what it is, it has to do with the keys and, you know, the room that, you know, you don't go into kind of thing. And I know that there's other stories in here, and I hear that this is good. And I had the audiobook. I don't care. So I stopped. I didn't binge it. I'll be getting rid of that book. It just isn't for me. Short stories are very much not something I read very often, and I just don't find a huge enjoyment in them overall. I mean, I have to really like the author to even make myself really to actually read the short stories. And I don't know, to get something out of it is still kind of, even my favorite authors, I'm not big into short stories. They're just too short. And then, so I picked up instead Benjamin Franklin by Walter Isaacson. This is, I listened to this on I'm listening to this on audio by Nelson Rudger, which I think is is the same one who did the John Adams one. I'm not sure, but anyway, so I'm doing, again, continuing on with my presidential biographies, but again, I mentioned I was going to pick up some of the key figures in the time, during those times, that is not a president. And so, of course, Ben Franklin has to be done. And so far, this is so enjoyable. I only got like 51 pages in, so I got 3 chapters in. So I'm really enjoying this. I didn't pick it up the last couple days of work. I just didn't have time, but or didn't settle. So this week I hope to make a little bit more progress on it. Again, it's like a 24-hour, is it 24? Something like that, hour audiobook. So it's going to take me some time. So it's like the other ones. I'm just going to plod my way through it. And Engine, as I said, I'm doing a lot of the revolutionary stuff right now. Before I just want to try to catch all them first, and then I'll move on in time period. So anyway, that's my next. That'll be my audiobook for a really long time. And then the books that I am currently reading. I am currently still working on a Journal of the Plague Year by Daniel Defoe. So this is a book published in 1722 that's writing about the 1665 plague epidemic in London. And I know that's like weird to be reading right now, except that I bought this book a year and a half ago, and I knew I wanted to read it. My dad was going to borrow it after I read it, and of course I hadn't read it yet. So I started reading it, of course, when this all started happening. And in some ways, this is really hard to read. Well, first because it's written oddly, because it's written in the 1700s, and so they have odd capitalization. He capitalizes weird words. They just make it up as they go. Because again, it was the early. It's not really a novel. It's like kind of odd book. Anyway, and it's following the character HF, who is telling this story of what happened when he got stuck in London during the plague. But the thing that's really hard, and wasn't the language, and getting used to the writing, Defoe's writing wasn't that hard. It really is that it parallels so much to right now. Like, you just read about people who panic and people who can't stay inside, and there are people actually who are locked inside and under guard so that they don't spread the disease. But I mean, it's still kind of the same thing that we're, dealing with now. People don't want to stay inside. I don't know. Just don't, like, social distancing is not that hard, and some people just don't want to do it. And it was so, like, the same here. People who were infected who just can't stay, and they don't care, and that's kind of going on now too. Anyway, so in a lot of ways this is hard to read, and I don't read very much of it. I try to read 10 pages here and there, so it's like every other day right now. Like yesterday I didn't pick it up, but I read 10 pages the day before. So I'm about 100 or 90 pages in, so I'm about a third of the way. Well, maybe a little bit, yeah, a little bit. No, that's about right. a little less than a little more than a third of the way. So anyway, I'm plotting on that. So I am working on Mary Stewart's 9 Coaches Waiting, which was the 3rd book that she published, and the next one in my reread of all of her books. This was published in 58, or yeah, 58. I thought it was 57. Anyway, so this has to do with it's written in the 50s, so it has to do with a young woman named Linda who grew up in France, but somehow ended up in England and in the orphan system due to her parents dying in a plane accident or crash. And so now it's been many years since she was in the system. She's working now for them and not really enjoying it. She gets a chance to become a governess to a young 9-year-old boy. So in France. So she takes the leap and goes on it's kind of them talking about this estate that's on the east side of France, I guess, really close to Geneva. Like they just crossed the border and they were there. So I'm not sure what that area is called. But it's she writes so well about areas that I've never been to that I want to go there. That she does really good about sceneries. And then again, it's the woman's journey of her meeting the family that she's working with and their secrets, and then things that are happening, and someone seems to be out for the young boy, and because he is heir to all for the estate. And then of course there is a love story in here, and it's, as I said, I'm like just over halfway, which is, it didn't go quite the way I was thinking it was going to, but that's fine. It's still early days. We'll see what happens. But I like these because they are mostly focused on the mystery. There is a romance in this one, a little bit more than the other ones, the other 2 that I've recently reread. So we'll see what happens. Again, so my problem was with this is that I read this when I was a teenager, and I know I read this as a teenager. I read all of the books except for one that I won't read or won't finish. Anyway, and then so I read this one, and I really I have no memory of it. And I thought, well, I'll start it and I'll start remembering it, because I did remember the first one, Madam, Will You Talk? I did remember that after I got into it. And Wildfire at Midnight, I did remember part of that too, and mostly it was just the scenery in that one. I didn't remember the story at all. So I know I read this when I was a teenager, but I have nothing is clicking. Like, none of it sounds familiar. So unfortunately that means I've slowed down on it, because I was thinking that this would be, comfort reread and I'd get into it, which is how I've been feeling lately, and I'm not. I'm actually not dreading to pick it up. I'm just having trouble picking it up. So I might set this aside, even though I'm halfway through, where, things are starting to build and the tension's starting, things are happening, but I just can't focus. So I might put that down for a week or so and, or try to pick it up here and there. Because I just can't, it's weird. I sat on my couch yesterday. I've been playing Animal Crossing a lot, but in the afternoon, I couldn't pick it up for 4 hours. I watched TV. I watched some BookTube, and then I changed to regular cable to watch some documentaries. And actually, I was watching Forensic Files 2 on HLN. I am so happy that they brought that show back with new episodes. I'm so excited. Anyway, so I was enjoying that, watching that. But I couldn't pick that book up very much. I read about 100 pages yesterday, but not a lot. Like the last couple days, just a little bit. So I think I need to put it down. And I'll come back to it. There's no way I will not finish that book. I think right now is not, because I don't remember it, it's making it harder for me to pick up. So last night I go, okay, I have to pick up another reread. Let me see what I want to read. And of course if you guys watched my Friday reads, I had three books that I was going to pick up. I didn't pick up either any of those, because that's how rereading works, is I just pick up what I want. So I picked up Rock Hard by Nalini Singh. I mean, it's not a surprise it's Nalini Singh, but I picked up one of her contemporaries, which I don't know why, because I'm not really in a contemporary mood, but for some reason this story just called to me and I just wanted to. So this is her book 2 in her, I don't know if it's called the Rock Kiss series. I don't remember even what the series is called. Oh, Rock Addiction, Rock Kiss, I think is what the series is called. Anyway, but it was book 2, and it follows Charlotte, who is a friend of the girl in the first, Molly in the first book, Rock Addiction, and it's her story in New Zealand and how she has to deal with her overbearing ex-rugby gorgeous CEO, her boss, and is one of my favorites. And again, Charlotte has a lot of trauma from her past, from something that happened to her many years ago, or a few years ago, and so she still has issues with that, and it's her coming out of her shell from that. And I love this story. It's one of my favorite romance stories. And again, I just felt like it, and I picked it up and I started reading it, and I read last night, before bed I read like 37 pages. So it's not like I read a huge amount, but I read the first 3 or 4 chapters. 4 chapters. So, I mean, I'm probably going to read this today and just read that out. So we'll see how I feel after that. The books I think I might pick up, again, were the 3 that I picked on Friday. Again, we're all fantasy, and I don't know why I didn't feel like picking up a fantasy. I figured I would pick up a fantasy after 9 Coaches Waiting, due to the fact that that was, not contemporary to me, but contemporary when it was written in the 50s. And so I thought, oh, well, I'll want to go fantasy after that. Well, no, I guess I wanted to go contemporary now. I don't know why. But anyway, I have another Nalini Singh, Wolf Rain, book 18 in the Side Changeling series. I might pick up that, although I just saw Channeling Riddler talking about Caressed by Ice, which is number 3 and one of my favorites, and I might reread that one. We'll see. I also have the 5th book in the Other series by Anne Bishop, Etched in Bone, and I do really want to, sorry, I should show that. I do want to finish my reread of this series, because then I can restart it again. So that could happen. And then, as I said, I'm going to reread David Eddings' Malarian series. First book is Guardians of the West, which is the 5-book series that comes after the Belgariad, which I don't think I mentioned that on Friday, but it is a very, again, it's a 5-book series, and they're all fairly short for fantasy. Again, they're in the, well, this is like 430, so I guess he's starting to get bigger in this series. I kind of forgot that. But anyway, I want to reread those this year. So these are all rereads. They're all comfort reads. They're all ones that I will pick up at some point this year. I know I will. But will I pick them up after Rock Hard? I don't know. So we'll see. So how is your guys' reading? How is your work stuff going, and how that affecting your reading? As I said, I really think rereads are just where my mind is at. I have great plans for April. I'm going to put my TBR up probably on Tuesday. I have all these plans, but you know, if I feel like I do right now, I won't do them all, but I will try. I will still attempt. And then I still have like a whole stack of library books that I have not even touched that, you know, at some point I will have to take them back when they reopen. And they're all books I want to read, but I can't focus on new ones. And I think that's why I have to put down 9 Coaches Waiting just for now. I will come back to that. That is not a book that I will abandon and never come back to. That is a book that I really want to know what happens, because I don't remember, but I think that's part of my problem. Rereads for me, I remember, like, most of it. And if it's a reread that's like from a distant time, that I can see why I don't remember stuff. So most of these, though, are not from that too distant. I mean, the longest one back is the 8-9 years since the last time I did the Malarian reread. So that's not that long ago. And again, I've read it 4 times, you know. Anyway, I think that's it. I have talked way too much. So let me know what your guys are reading or how you're doing. Everybody stay safe and keep with the social distancing. I mean, I totally am just like, yeah, I don't understand the people who can't do it. I just was like, it's fine. I got it. And as I said, I need to start cooking. I'm not going to cook. I'm going to do the easiest things I possibly can. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, that's it. I think I've said everything. Sorry. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.